search for foreign land. Years and years I roamed, I gazed and stared. We must have million years, I must have.
Final segment with Aidan Monaghan. Aidan, I want to talk about how they try to shape the argument, as in the debunkers and the establishment. For instance, when you watched this hit piece that National Geographic just did, they make the claim that truthers say that fire can't deform steel. Now, have you heard one quote-unquote person who's involved in 9/11 truth ever say that fire can't deform steel? Obviously, that's not the argument, correct?
No, I don't think so.
I can't imagine one truther saying that either. But what they don't want to tell you is, no, we're pointing to the fact that James Baker Sky of FEMA on 9/15 said there were temperatures of 2,700 degrees there. We're going by the fact that the firefighters talked about a lava-like substance flowing down the channel rails. We're talking about Ken Holden of FEMA testifying before NIST that there was molten metal dripping from Building 6. This is the molten metal that we're talking about. And then you watch the video, of the now infamous video, of the molten metal pouring from the World Trade Center, and the debunkers still try to claim that this is aluminum from the plane when Stephen Jones has done the experimentation and thoroughly disproven this.
Right. Boeing aircraft were not manufactured out of nano aluminum.
Exactly. You know, and again, I'm watching this National Geographic piece, and the guy's like, well, that's aluminum from the plane reacting with something. No, that's not how it works. You need just the right amount of aluminum and other materials in order to create thermite. It didn't accidentally happen in that corner where it flowed down literally out of like a foundry. You could see it. It was going down 20, 40, 60 floors before it was actually dissipating. This is insane to me.
Sure, and one of the byproducts of a thermitic reaction is the white smoke known as aluminum oxide, and Tower 2 was spewing white smoke in the minutes before it finally fell, either from the bottom or from various points as the building was collapsing. There's so much evidence supporting the thermite hypothesis, and it's never addressed responsibly. And once again, as I was saying, the official story is nothing but an unproven allegation. Long story short.
No, you're absolutely correct. You know, one of the other things that the debunkers were trying to say is they took an I-beam that I could lift up with my hands and tried to compare it to a steel beam that was used in the World Trade Center, which is laughable in the first place. And then there's no fireproofing on it. And they make the claim that all the fireproofing was knocked off the beams in the tower when the planes hit. Well, that just cannot be the case. Maybe some of the fireproofing was knocked off some of the beams, but obviously, it didn't happen throughout the building. Yet, when you look at this pile of rubble, none of these steel girders seem to have any of the fireproofing still on them. I wonder how that could happen without explosives. Kind of boggles the mind, doesn't it?
It does. And also, what I found rather dubious in the Nat Geo documentary was the demolition expert, quote-unquote, who claimed that nothing was ever found physically that would tie a controlled demolition to the collapses of the buildings. There were millions and millions of pounds of wreckage after the buildings fell. I doubt that anyone could distinguish detonating devices from ordinary cabling, wire, electronics that also fell to the ground when the buildings collapsed. And to suggest that one should have or could have is rather dubious, in my opinion. Absurd, even.
Absolutely, and then they'll sit there and try to say that there's no evidence, and then they won't even address Building 7 at all. It's like Building 7 doesn't exist. I hope you show it in the special, and then they show the video of it, and then that's enough. They addressed it. No, you didn't address how a 47-story skyscraper fell into its own footprint, just like two 110-story skyscrapers just before it. Aidan, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back taking your calls. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, 888-201-2244.
Hello, friends. This is Alex Jones, and I want each of you to ask yourself this question. Do you really know what's in your tap water? In a recent study conducted by a major environmental auditor, they found that over 260 chemicals and pollutants are present in municipal drinking water. Many of these chemicals are directly linked to cancer, reproductive, immune, and developmental system diseases. Now, what are you going to do about it? The Ecola Blue atmospheric water generator is a low-cost way to take back control of you and your family's drinking water. The Ecola Blue 28 produces up to 7 gallons of water from the humidity in the atmosphere and uses state-of-the-art carbon filtration, reverse osmosis, and ultraviolet light sterilization techniques. That's right, clean water right from the air you breathe. Order today by calling 1-800-691-6043. That's 1-800-691-6043. Or visit Ecola Blue on the web at www.ecoloblu.com today. That's ecolablue.com.